Hello, everybody, and welcome. Sorry. All right, I'm good. I always have to get the laugh out at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's do you acknowledge though your face is hilarious?
Wow. Don't know whether to acknowledge that, but yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the How to Destroy Your Brand podcast, episode 2, with me, Andreas Giorgio, and Josh Woods, to bring to you the best breakdowns and analysis in the world of marketing campaigns. Josh, great to be back.
It's great to be back. And after the success of the last documentary, we're on to the next one, which is Walker's Wave.
Walker's Wave. Now, everybody, as you probably know, hopefully you know, after episode 1, the podcast follows on or runs in symmetry with the documentaries that we're producing on the Infinity Studios YouTube channel. So last episode, Toyota Matrix, that was great fun. We were talking about that marketing campaign done by Saatchi & Saatchi for Toyota. There was a documentary as well that you could all watch along with on YouTube about the Toyota campaign. And it's the exact same this week as well. So we are going to be doing, as Josh says, the Walker's Wave campaign. And there is already a YouTube documentary on the Infinity Studios channel. And we implore you to go and watch it. Whether it's before this, if you want to pause right now, or come back afterwards. Make sure to subscribe on all your podcast platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as we said, please check out the documentary. So Josh, let's kick it off. How to Destroy Your Brand, Episode 2, Walker's Wave. We begin. Gary Lineker, the face of Walkers. Now, before we get into a bit of context about who Gary is and who Walkers are, I want to ask you, favorite Walker's crisp flavor? Go ahead.
Prawn cocktail. I'm a prawn cocktail kind of guy. Yeah. I don't actually like prawn cocktail, but the crisps are brilliant.
Don't you find that interesting that you hate the concept of what the crisp is, but you really like the crisp?
Yeah, it's unlike any flavor I've ever tasted before. It's very tangy, and I know this isn't supposed to be an ad for Walker's or that particular flavor, but yeah, they are surreal crisps.
That's one way to put it. Would you say Walker's are your favorite crisps?
No. I would say, what do I like? What's-its.
Yeah. Are they not by Walker's?
I don't.
Pretty sure
Walker's, What's-its, maybe. Pringles. No, I like Pringles.
Yeah.
Knick-knacks.
Knick-knacks. Yeah. That could also be by Walker's.
They've got the monopoly.
They bloody do. And I've got the stats to back it up in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we get off this random tangent, worst flavor crisp you've ever eaten in your life? Go ahead.
Oh, God. There was... Walker's actually did release a Christmas flavors. Right. And they released, I think it was Christmas dinner and black pudding or something like that. And I don't
That sounds awful.
Well, that's what I mean. I think it was experimental. I think it ended after a month. Got shut down. You're like, no more of
We're not having it.
No. No, fans didn't appreciate it. And they had that thing where they release new flavors, and if you like them, then one will stay on and be like a mainstay. Yeah. And that definitely wasn't one of them.
Definitely wasn't.
So yeah, it might not even be the correct flavor.
No, but it was Christmassy.
Yeah, Christmas.
Yeah. Do you remember, and I guess to all the listeners as well, because every time I bring this crisp up now to people, they tell me that it's a figment of my imagination. And I swear, when I was a child, I ate these. Monster Munch, vanilla flavor.
No, it doesn't exist.
Definitely existed. Ate it as a child.
Sure you're not confusing it with vanilla Coke?
How
or
were
Campinos?
How were they the same?
Well, I don't know, but I don't believe Monster Munch done vanilla flavored Monster Munch.
They honestly did. I remember I went to the newsagents as a kid. You know, you got your pocket money, and I saw them, and I was like, they look great. And I bought a packet, and they weren't great. And obviously,
or Monster Munch.
Well, they were definitely Monster Munch. But I guess everybody else, I know I'm telling the truth. Tweet us in. Let us know at Infinity Studios Manchester on Twitter, Instagram. And prove Josh wrong that it was a real flavour.
And now I appreciate that we've been talking about our favourite crisp flavours, but maybe we should get into the campaign.
We're going to get into the campaign now. Walker's Wave campaign. That's what we're here to talk about. Now, Josh, I've got some notes here about Walkers, first of all, before we get into the Walkers Wave campaign, which took place in 2017. It was in line with the 2016-2017 UEFA Champions League football final to find the best football club in Europe. It's a yearly competition. I understand that I'm explaining this to you in the simplest terms possible.
No, it's good. This is the first time I'm hearing it.
It's the first time, good. Because we know you're such a big fan of football.
Yeah. Massimo Taibbi, my favourite player.
Massimo Taibbi. But yes, the Walkers Wave campaign, it ran in conjunction with that. And it was headed up by the legend, the man himself, the face of Walkers since 1994, Mr. Gary Lineker.
Gaza.
I think that was a different player that they called Gaza.
Yeah.
Same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Gary Lineker has, we know that you're not the biggest football fan, Josh, but when it comes to Crisp, I'm guessing as long as you remember, because it's definitely the case for me. Gary, when you've seen Gary, you've saw Walkers, and when you've seen Walkers, you've seen Gary.
Well, I think, because I believe he became a face in 1994.
Yes.
And I don't remember Walkers before 1994. So I don't know who they had as the face then. Do you?
They didn't have a face before then. So Gary was the official face. Convenient. Well, you could say that. Well, you know what else is convenient? Gary's salary. So here's this. In 1994, when Gary first signed with Walkers, he was paid a signing on or contractual fee of £200,000. Now, in 1994, obviously that's a lot of money when you adjust for inflation now. Incredible amount of money. I want you to guess. 2020, Gary signed a contract extension with Walkers. What number do you think we're looking at?
Now, he's been retired, hasn't he, for a long time?
As a footballer, yes. He's a pundit, match of the day.
Yeah.
So well known for that.
So I imagine, just based on my logic, that it will have gone down. So do you know what the rise of inflation is from 200,000?
I don't have the inflational adjustment.
Well, let's just make it up. Let's say it's about 800,000.
Okay.
But that doesn't help me in any way. So I would say he's been a mainstay, though. Let's say 1.2 million. Is that correct?
That's the number.
Oh my God!
Yeah, in 2020, Gary signed the contract extension with Walkers for £1.2 million. Do you honestly not know that?
I had no idea. No idea whatsoever.
Well, that's thrown that segment completely out of the window. But yeah, £1.2 million for Gary Lineker. And I know how you were saying there, obviously he's not a footballer anymore, so he's probably paid less money now. Fun fact, Gary Lineker is the highest paid presenter at the BBC out of everybody.
Does he work? Oh, yeah, on Match of the Day.
Match of the Day. That show you watch every Saturday.
Oh, yeah, with Des Linen.
Definitely not.
He did do something with football. He used to go...
Gary replaced Des Linen.
Well, I don't know. You're gonna
Why are we talking about football? We've established. But yeah, that's how Gary came to be with Walkers. Now, Gary Lineker, 1994, height of his popularity, you could argue, because 1990, the Italia World Cup, that's where the England... Not Zidane.
Ronaldo.
Definitely not either.
Ronaldinho.
Throw me off.
Roberto Carlos.
You're thinking about a decade later.
Oh, okay.
But Italia 90.
Edgar Davids.
Still not that generation. Anywho, Italia 90, famous World Cup, especially for the fact that England got further in that World Cup than they had in a major tournament in a long time. Gaza cries in the semi-final. England lose 4-3 to West Germany in the semi-finals, but they come back, heroes of the nation. Amazing story. There's a great documentary actually called One Night in Turin, which really goes into detail about that magical tournament. But Gary Lineker did something at Italia 90. He scored goals, but he did something else, Josh, and I want to see if you know what he did.
On the pitch.
On the pitch, yes. All over the pitch.
I have no idea. What else can you do?
What else can you do, Josh? That's a great question. So, Italia 90, opening game for England's campaign in the group stages. They play Ireland, and Gary Lineker scores a goal, puts England in the lead. But another event happens later on in that game, and Gary Lineker poos himself on the pitch. And there's a really famous clip online of him just sat on the floor trying to wipe his bottom on the grass.
How do other people know about this?
Everybody, probably except for you, knows that Gary Lineker pooed his pants.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't... You know what I was going to say? I was going to go, did he pee on the pitch? Because you said all over.
Yeah.
But... well, that's a bit alarming. Why did that happen?
He had a bowel problem, basically. Dodgy food, probably the night before. Probably weren't the Walker's crisps at that point. But yeah, he pooed on the pitch, and it's a very, very famous footballing moment.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. What would you do if, let's just say you were Gary Lineker, and I think he did what any respectable person would do, and is just try and wipe it on the grass. You know, I don't think there's another option. Really.
Did he carry on playing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
See, I think the only responsible thing to do is, if I had just pooed myself on a pitch in front of hundreds of thousands of people, is to lie down and have them escort me out on a stretcher.
Respectful, absolutely. But that was Gary Lineker, the Italia 90 World Cup. But let's fast forward to where we are in this story of the Walker's Wave campaign, 2017. Now, contextually, at this point, Walkers, who, fun fact, I know everybody's always saying, everyone from the UK, oh, whenever I go abroad, I like to eat Lay's. And yeah, well, Lay's is Walker. Lay's bought Walkers in the late 80s. And basically, Walkers was such a popular brand in the UK, that's the only reason they didn't rebrand it. So that's why it's still called Walker's Crisp, and the rest of the world, it's called Lay's. So fun fact there. But in 2017, Walker's Crisps, in the whole year, sold 77 million kilograms of crisps. And I actually have a really fun conversion to help put that into perspective, Josh.
I was going to say, because I can't...
You can't picture that, can you? No, you don't have a grasp on that, do you, Josh? But I have something that I think is going to massively help you put that picture in your head. So 77 million kilograms of crisps is equivalent to 12,222.22 fully grown adult elephants.
See, in my head, that just makes it more confusing.
More confusing? Or can you not picture it?
No, definitely more confusing. 12,000 adult elephants.
It's a lot of crisps, isn't it? Can you believe as a nation we eat that many crisps just of Walkers?
Yeah, 77,000 kilograms, not 12,000.
Million, 77 million kilograms.
Oh,
it's a lot.
Yeah, that's, I'm not actually that... I'm more of a sweet guy.
Yeah.
Crisp guy.
I don't have any sweet facts. But do you know who the closest competitor in 2017 to Walkers were?
Pringles?
No. Good guess. It was...
Doritos.
Are you just going to keep guessing? Or?
Is it one of them done?
All right, go on, one more.
Who are the guys that... No, it's definitely not them. I was going to say the people that make those salt sticks.
What? Pretzels?
No, I think they're literally called salt sticks.
Oh, okay. Good guess.
I don't think they're competitors.
Well, 20 million units is the next closest, and it's own brand. So it's like Sainsbury's own brand, Asda's own brand. God. If you added all them up, that would equal 20 million.
And the people that are buying them are not buying them because they prefer it, I imagine. I imagine that's the case.
Yeah, probably better.
Yeah, that's right. It's cheaper, isn't it?
It's a lot cheaper, obviously. Walkers are, quite expensive, but they have the multi-bags. I don't even want to entertain this topic. But the closest named competitor is McCoy's at 13 million kilograms. So it's a massive difference.
Yeah.
Walkers are the kings, and that's why for this campaign they're sponsoring the UEFA Champions League, which is, besides the Euros or the World Cup, is the next biggest football competition in the world. So they're the main sponsors for that. And they're running a campaign, Josh. And it's called...
Yep. I'm here.
And you know about it, and we're going to discuss it anyway. It's a two-pronged campaign. One part of it, actually very good, as we'll discuss. The other, not so much.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the good part. Snap and share.
Okay.
What do you know about that?
Snap and Share was the prelude to the Walker's Wave, where they would ask people to take a selfie with a bag of crisps that had a mouth on it. You put that over your mouth, take a selfie, send it in.
Yep, absolutely.
And it was a big family thing. People were like, oh, we'll get all the kids to do this. I imagine that's what they would say. And yeah, that went really well, didn't it?
It did go really well for Walkers. They got a lot of content generated from it. They got a lot of engagement from people as well. People such as Reggie Yates was involved in it. So it was a big ad campaign for Walkers that they were pumping money into. And let's also add, the reason they were doing this is they were doing a ticket giveaway for the UEFA Champions League final for the 2016-2017 series, which would be taking place in Cardiff, the Millennium Stadium. So they wanted to give some tickets away, and they thought, why not do a campaign? And as we just said there, it sounds like a good campaign, and in reality, it was a great campaign. And it was very, very simple as well. And I think that's the one thing. I mean, if we cast our minds back to The Matrix last week, Josh, that was a very convoluted campaign.
Yeah.
And when you look at this, it's like, oh, you just take a picture of yourself and you send it in. Much simpler, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's got that whole public participation thing, which I guess is a lot easier when you're a brand the size of Walkers, because it's not like Walkers were a small company in 2017.
Absolutely. As we just looked at the numbers, huge in the UK. So that was part one. No hitch. Now, there's a second part to the campaign, and that is called the Walker's Wave. A very well-known, and maybe if you listen to this, you don't even know about it, but what the premise of the campaign, I won't go into the result of the campaign, but the premise of the campaign, Josh, very similar to Snap and Share, is that Walkers had a hashtag that you could engage with, and you could send in a picture to feature in a ginormous Mexican wave that Walkers were going to be featuring outside the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff City Centre before the Champions League final. So it was, again, a really strong idea for fan participation. Mexican waves, synonymous with football.
Mexico.
And Mexico. Funny enough, I was trying to actually find out, did it originate in Mexico? And it did. There is, as you would expect. I was really hoping I would find that it wasn't, and the Mexicans stole it or something like that. But the earliest date that somebody says that they saw a Mexican wave in Mexico was 1968. So obviously historic. And apparently after that, FIFA recognized it as officially belonging to Mexico. So that's why it is called the Mexican wave.
How did that start?
I have no idea.
Because it seems, I know it's a staple now, and everyone gets it. But the first time someone does it, so was this just one person that decided to wave? He must have had to tell other people, like, please join in.
Well, I mean, you've got two routes, haven't you, really? You've got, one is that just one person sat there trying aimlessly to get everybody involved, or B, it was planned and everybody was in on it, on the wave. I like to hope it was the first one. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. I really like what that guy's doing over there.
You know, he's like 68, but he's been trying since 54 to get the wave going.
And it's like, why don't we all do it in time rather than separately? So, yeah.
As a concept, it's proper wild though when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember once I was at a gig, and obviously this isn't a Mexican wave, but I was at a gig, and I started a chant. It was for Muse years ago.
Right.
And so I just started going, Muse, Muse, Muse. And then everyone joined in. And it was great. And I was like, I started that chant.
How empowering was it?
It was really weird because I definitely knew it was me. And it was like, wow. But, you know, people were, it's not like I was shouting something that wasn't to do with the gig we were at.
Yeah.
It's not like we're at a Shania. I don't know what happened there. A Shania Twain gig.
Yeah, what would you have chanted at a Shania Twain
Probably
gig?
Shania Twain.
Shania Twain, go on.
There's a bit too many syllables.
Too many syllables.
This is the last tangent I'll go on, because I know we keep going on tangents, but another chant that I started was because obviously I know very little about football. I went to Thailand, and because I'm from Manchester, like Manchester United.
Yeah.
And so I said, pretend I was a big football fan. I was like, there's a big chant we all do. And it goes, football, football, football. It's really called soccer. And I got the whole bar in Thailand singing it.
That's ridiculous. Were these just locals or?
Yeah, I think they were just appeasing me.
Oh, yeah. That sounds about right. But as we say, the Mexican wave originates in Mexico, and that's what walkers are looking to emulate here on these giant screens, is they're going to superimpose everybody's face if you tweet in to the walkers account with your face. Now, you're probably saying to me, Josh, what could go wrong with that? Because snap and share, great, went really, really well. What could go wrong with this? That's a relevant question, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think when you explain that it's a video that uses someone else, I think that so it's your image will be intertwined with someone else.
Yes. So I actually forget to mention, it's not just going to be on the Mexican wave. It's going to be presented by none other than Gary Lineker.
So Gary Lineker will hold up your selfie.
Gary Lineker will hold up your selfie, and then the video cuts to the Mexican wave, where again your face will feature as part of this huge Mexican wave. So it's two-part essentially. You've got Gary saying "nice selfie," and then you're in the Mexican wave. So yes. What could go wrong?
Well, I assume you're going to tell us, but this is all to do with automation.
It is.
Yeah.
It is all to do with automation. So as you can probably imagine, listeners, walkers weren't really thinking ahead with this, and they didn't actually have any human verification, or if they did, it was a very, very limited amount, because the way the system worked was it would scan. So when you did the tweet and with the video, it would scan just to make sure it's a human face, because they didn't want anything weird, any weird parts showing up. So that was the only automation that the system did. It would check that it's a human face. Wouldn't check who the human face was or what the face is. It was just checking it was a human face. Mm-hmm. So with that, obviously that opens walkers up, and Gary, poor Gary, to a few problems there, because some unsavory characters might start to appear. Which they did.
Yes, they did. And I think, they probably should have saw this coming.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, you're giving people far too much wiggle room to just, destroy your brand. Do we want to go into what actually happened? Yeah,
so what actually happened, Josh, as we just said, unsavory characters might appear, and as we said, you would send in the selfie, and it was automated, so Gary would hold up a whiteboard showing your face, and he'd be like, nice selfie. Now, the kind of people who would appear on this board included the likes of Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris, Ian Brady, people who, now as we alluded at the beginning of the show with the thumbnail, are known for being predators in society.
Quite severe predators.
Very severe predators. Jimmy Savile abused his position, abused his power within the BBC to get access to children, and he did obviously a lot of unsavoury things, which now, is it posthumous? Is that the word? Yeah. He's obviously gone on, he was investigated while he was still alive, but now he's dead. He's absolutely, like, his reputation is in tatters. Everybody knows him as this awful paedophile, awful predator. So I would say, as an organisation like Walkers, Jimmy Savile is probably one of the last faces I would want as part of a campaign.
Yes, I'm sure. These people would all appear in the frames and kind of... I mean, the great thing about this is that this was all received as a prank. Like, no one was turning around going, Walkers, you're absolutely disgusting, which is a route that it could have taken. But everyone knew what was happening. Everyone was like, the football fans are trolling here. So that's the one positive out of this situation. It was
positive is a loose term.
Yes, but at the same time, it wasn't branded as a failure by walkers necessarily, because it was like what the public are taking the rap for this. They're actively trying to dismantle your campaign, and they did.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was after just a few days that walkers had to pull their campaign.
Yeah.
And as we expected, the big Mexican wave at the final did not go ahead because, I mean, you can't have a Mexican wave filled with predators. I think everybody knows that. So obviously walkers had to pull the campaign, and I've actually got their statement, what they told the BBC at the time, which was a company spokesperson said, "We recognise people were offended by irresponsible and offensive posts by individuals, and we apologise. We are equally upset and have shut down all activity." So this big campaign, which was to bring walkers to the centre stage in Wales, in Cardiff, for the UEFA Champions League final between Real Madrid and Juventus. We didn't mention that yet. Real Madrid won 4-1. Was a big colossal failure because the campaign that they wanted to bring attention to had to be shut down beforehand. Very similar to the Matrix.
Yes.
Shut down before its time, so to say.
It was also, I don't know if you know about this part, but there was also outside the stadium in Cardiff, they set up a giant 30-foot screen which would broadcast the tweets from Gary live. And then they started realising, okay, well, we're getting flooded with serial killers and paedophiles, so should probably shut this down. So all the people, that hand out Chris, for promotional things, just left. So they just turned off the screen and went, we're just going to go home, and left a giant 30-foot walker's screen outside the Principality Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful ending.
Awful.
And you're probably thinking, because there is one man involved in this who you could probably say is probably the most innocent of everybody. And
or the most guilty.
I don't think so. And his name is Gary Lineker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think... I'm sorry, poor Gary, because I can't imagine. Imagine turning your phone on one day, opening Twitter, and there's just a video.
And see you endorsing.
Yeah. Well, it is almost endorsing.
Yeah.
Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris saying, "Hey, nice selfie."
Yeah.
That would be awkward.
That's what I mean. But he handled it well.
Handled it
like a true champion.
You could say. I've got actually again what Gary said. He said, "Had an unusual day in some very strange company. I'm sure we'll wave goodbye to them all by tomorrow."
Oh no! So was he trying to put a walker's pun in his response?
He was. Yes.
Always on the job, always on the clock, Gary.
Company man.
No wonder they hired you, Gary. Well done.
1.2 million.
1.2
worth
million.
Every penny.
Yeah. Gone up sixfold since 1994.
Maths.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Walker's Wave campaign in a nutshell. Didn't work. Didn't work. Brought a lot of attention to the brand in an unsavory way. Put Gary Lineker at the forefront of endorsing predators. And all in all, probably didn't help crisp sales that much after the fact.
I mean, I don't know how it affected crisp sales, but like I said, I think because the public were aware of what happened, that walkers essentially got trolled. I don't know how much their brand was destroyed, because they were essentially the victim in this, taking very little blame, maybe for just being a bit naive. And I think, I'm sure one of the statements that they put out was like that they wanted... they expected people to act reasonably or along those lines. And it's like, people just don't.
No.
Don't ever expect that.
They put a bit too much faith in the British population.
Yeah.
So to say, which is sad, because really they should be able to do that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is funny. It's very funny.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is. Because it's like, hey, Gary Lineker's endorsing Jimmy Savile. Like, when you say it like that, but then obviously when you go a bit deeper, it's quite dark.
Yeah, well, I mean, the past of those people, but it's, I mean, if you had the chance, let's hypothesize, and let's say Nestle Oh my god! Right, can't think of any like similarity between them. But let's say Nestle. Help me out here, Andreas.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for a hypothetical, like a similar scenario.
What could be similar to this? I don't know where you're going. Well, I've got a similar scenario in reality.
Okay, yeah.
But it doesn't involve food.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's go with that because mine's gone.
I'm sure it was great. But as we know, football fans, as the ones in question, unsavoury people, to say the least. The bad ones are, and there's always
covering your tracks.
Covering my back. I'm a football fan, so 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. Awful. I didn't think that needed to be said, but it was genuinely awful, and we're still recovering from it now. And fans are not allowed to go to football stadiums to watch football. So these stadiums at one point held 40, 50,000 people. They go to having nobody in, and imagine doing but you're a footballer. You're playing your game based off the energy of the crowd. That drives you forward. To go from that to cricket, essentially, and being able to hear your teammates clearer than you've ever heard them before in an actual real game, surreal. So a lot of football clubs around the UK and around Europe as well actually came up with a really cool idea to maybe not necessarily fix the noise issue, but to try and make things feel a little bit less empty. So you know what they did, Josh? They allowed people to pay and submit their own faces to be put into the crowd. So there was like a body with the T-shirt of the football club on, and then they would add your face onto it. So again, sounds really nice in theory. But then we remember it's to do with football, and football fans love a bit of banter, don't they? So it happened to quite a few clubs, but probably the most publicised at the time was Leeds United Football Club. And somebody had, again, this goes to show that verification process. I don't know who was doing it, but they were definitely fired afterwards. It was just during a game, Sky Sports cameras pan to the crowd, or the fake crowd, and you just see, just chilling there, Osama bin Laden in the crowd.
See, the thing I think about this one, I don't think it is anywhere near as good, because this is physical, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they had physical cardboard cutouts.
Someone had to literally take that cardboard cutout and put it in the stand.
And the person that did that did not think, well, that's a terrorist.
We didn't look at that and go, that's a terrorist.
Yeah. But then again, how many people were in the crowd? Cardboard people.
But, like tens of thousands.
Yeah, so maybe he wasn't looking.
Yeah, he probably just... I mean, Jimmy Savile did actually crop up again in a crowd.
Everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. But, obviously, as you said, it's probably not to the same level as Walker's, but it does, again, show that...
I also... What was the point in that?
What, the point of the campaign?
No, the point of cardboard cutouts in the crowd.
I guess it tried to make people feel like they could still be there even though they weren't. So it's got, the idea was like, if it's a granddad and a grandson, I don't know what I was lost for words there. They go to the football every Saturday and they can't be there. Well, you can't be there, but it might be cool to see your faces there. You know what I mean?
I guess.
I mean, you're not a football fan, so maybe...
No, but is it... I mean, let's say I like MMA. I saw a cardboard cutout of me in the... Yeah, I guess that'd be pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, it would be pretty funny.
It'd be great.
Yeah. You're just there.
I'm convinced.
You're convinced. I've sold you on it. But we go back to the point, Josh. Let's wrap this podcast up by returning to the scale, which last week made its debut with the Toyota Matrix campaign. That landed at a 3 on the How to Destroy Your Brand scale. Now, Walker's Wave, I think we've given it a really fair trial here today. I want to hear yours first. Where do you think this is on the 0 to 10 scale?
Again, I would have to go really, really low. Just because... I mean, I don't want to say they came out of this positively, but they came out as the victim. I mean, if it was me, being me, I would put more responsibility on them, but it's past now, and I don't have that power. So, probably a 2.
Ooh. Do you know what? I'm actually going to say to you, I think for once you're being a bit harsh. I think it's even a 1. I think when we look at this, like we said, Walker's had pretty much no culpability. Yeah, you idiots should have monitored the videos and checked that properly. But realistically, as you said, it came across as a prank. And we're not looking at a Toyota situation where Amber Duick sued Toyota, Saatchi. You know, that backlash wasn't here with that. Walker's is still the most bought crisps in the United Kingdom. Gary Lineker is still the face of Walker's crisps. There's no real backlash. The only thing is that the campaign kind of failed with the giant media boards that were supposed to be a bit of fun.
I will happily concede to a 1.
Yeah.
Because, when you do compare this to Toyota Matrix, it's not close, is it?
No, it's not.
Not really. I mean, they were the butt of a joke.
They were.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the be-all and end-all. A very public butt of a joke.
Very, very public. So there you have it. Walker's Wave lands at number 1.
Number 1 on the scale, which is the lowest. We should infer that so people don't think we're saying it's absolutely destroyed, because it's not, obviously.
One day, you've got to subscribe and you've got to keep listening and watching. There will be a 10. And it's going to be wild. But for now, we've got a 1 and we've got a 3. And that's where we're at with How to Destroy Your Brand.
Yeah, I think when you say it like that, it seems like we're doing really underwhelming things, but it's not. It's because the 10s are out of this world. I mean, you're literally talking about something that a 10 would have to be something that destroys a conglomerate. Yeah,
not just that, but destroys people's lives. Like legitimately destroys people's lives. Not just the brand, but I think more than that.
Yeah.
And we do have some of those in the pipeline, and who knows, you got to keep watching, got to keep listening to How to Destroy Your Brand to find out who will be the first 10 on the How to Destroy Your Brand scale.
Yeah, or who will be the first above 5.
Yeah.
Or, any number above 3.
Any number above 3. We only had 2 episodes. But
I think we're debating this too much.
I know, we're talking about, like, this is a really, like, developed show. It's like second episode. But yeah, Josh, Walker's Wave. Good episode, right?
It was great. It was great. I had fun. Did you?
as fun as you can talking about predators.
Yeah. I'd say I had one last hypothetical before we go.
Okay.
Which is, I've not thought this through because I don't know what your response will be.
Please don't embarrass me.
Gary Lineker.
Yeah.
What would be the consequences of him moving to another crisp brand?
Oh, that's actually a good question.
Yeah. So, face of Pringles. It's no longer the moustache guy. It's Gary Lineker.
Yeah.
Or another footballer, Gary Neville.
Gary Neville.
2 Garys.
The 2 Garys. I think it would be like going to a rival team, you know, in football. So Carlos Tevez, Manchester United player, when he went to Manchester City, like death threats, everybody hated him, throwing things at him on the pitch, like literally wishing death upon him.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It probably wouldn't be like that. I don't know if Gary would get death threats.
From very, very heavy Walkers fans.
Yeah, 77 million kilograms sold. That's a lot of Walkers fans out there. I'd love to know like the per capita on that. Like how many kilograms?
It should go to the second biggest brand, which was the Sainsbury's own, I believe, wasn't it?
It was just own brands in general.
And finally, appeal to the lower class.
We'll call them working class.
Yes.
We'll call them the working class.
Yeah.
But before Josh digs any more holes, I think that is it for this episode of How to Destroy Your Brand. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, listening, and supporting the show. Please subscribe, give this a like, leave us a comment down below. Let us know what your thoughts were on the Walker's Wave campaign. And as we mentioned, Walker's Wave documentary now on the Infinity Studios Manchester YouTube channel. Give it a watch. Get some more information about the campaign. And of course, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with a brand new campaign to discuss on how to destroy your brand.
See you later.